Let's see something. Want to do that? That's cool right there.
That's lighting. What is it? I need this lip better.
Hey guys, yeah. So if anybody else needs to be given permission to record, please let me know now, as Eddie's just about to join. Sorry, Deb. Devin, you have permission, mate.
Can you hear me?
Ah, there we go. It's the world famous author Eddie Hearn.
Hello, everybody. See a lot of squares in front of me. Good to see you all.
What's going on, Eddie? What's happening?
Well, we're about to enter another lockdown in the UK, but we're still breathing.
Yeah, I heard they shut the country down, huh?
Yep. But elite sports is okay.
I wanted to come see the Pula fight.
I know.
Okay, guys, thanks for joining us, Eddie. I know a lot of you will have some questions, so let's just, and you're using the raised hand, which is great, but maybe, Eddie, if you could just start with just a few minutes, just talking about the card on Saturday night.
Sure. Well, I mean, what a division, the lightweight division. It's so frustrating missing these shows. You know, I don't really miss these shows very often, and I've had to watch some great shows, particularly Estrada against Quadras and Chocolatito a couple of weeks ago. And this is a big fight for Devin Haney because, you know, a lot of people just presume that Devin Haney is the next big thing. But if you want to be critical about his resume, he's yet to fight anyone anywhere near the ability of Gamboa. So, you know, I see a lot of people saying, oh, you know, why is he fighting Gamboa? Gamboa's finished. It's like Gamboa just had a very, very good fight with Gervonta Davis. We know that he ruptured his Achilles, but he hung in there till right to the death. And this is by far the toughest fight of Devin Haney's career so far. I mean, in fact, the jump in opposition, and you have to say that Abdullayev was probably the highest caliber opposition Devin Haney has faced so far. Gamboa is on another level to Abdullayev. So I'm expecting a great fight. I appreciate people who think that Haney is a level above Gamboa. They must rate him very, very highly. And we have those beliefs as well. But Gamboa is the kind of fight that I think Devin Haney needs to make a statement. And I think he is under pressure to make a statement in this fight because everybody else is making grand statements. I mean, the victory from Teofimo Lopez was just fantastic against Vasily Lomachenko. I know their team feel, you know, I spoke to Egis Klimas in London last week. They feel that, you know, Lomachenko was at 60, 70% in that fight, but it doesn't matter. Lopez got the win with a great performance, and he comes out and emerges as a star. I think for years and years, the 147-pound division has been the starlight division in boxing. And now for me, we know the heavyweight division is on fire and it's always at a focal point for boxing. But this lightweight division is just fantastic. Teofimo Lopez, stunning knockout from Tank Davis last week. And, I have to give a shout out to him because, I can't remember a fighter I was talking to this week where I said, that's the kind of performance or knockout or moment that you need in order to become a star. All right. So Tank Davis is another one up there with Teofimo Lopez, of course. Devin Haney and the winner of Luke Campbell against Ryan Garcia. I mean, they are the gruesome foursome, Well, that's gruesome twosome, isn't it? I have to come up with another one for them. But, that's the four ball, the four ball of the lightweight division, and they must fight everybody. So I think this is a big moment for Devin Haney. I have to give a shout out to him and his dad, Bill. They've been pushing his profile in lockdown. He's become a star, and this is a very important fight for him. For me, I think this leads to the winner of Luke Campbell against Ryan Garcia in early 2021. They're both the zone fighters. It's just a huge, huge fight and a very important fight for Devin Haney on Saturday. Two also important heavyweight fights, of course, Filip Hrgović, who for me, I think is the next big star of the world heavyweight division. I mean, I think, he's on the verge now of taking the big acid tests. I expect him to have a solid opponent on Saturday night. And also Zhilei Zhang. I think anytime there's an undefeated Chinese heavyweight, I mean, that sounds pretty good to me because that can open up a whole new market for us over there. And of course, the young guns as well, Reshat Mati, Raymond Ford, Arthur Baisanglov. And, I think it's big opportunities for those guys as well. But, good card, but it is about Devin Haney on Saturday. It is about this young buck who people talk about potentially the next Mayweather or whatever they want to say. But he'll want to go out there and dominate Yuriorkis Gamboa, who's been training hard. And I think Gamboa probably sees this opportunity, as a former unified champ to make, one last run at the world title. And if Devin Haney's not the real deal, he'll get beat on Saturday night because sometimes you get all these fighters that are hyped up. And when they take the leap, they're not what you thought they were. For me, that isn't the case with Devin Haney. But I think when you're in with a world-class fighter, you get to really find out the true ability. And I think you'll see Devin Haney shine on Saturday. So over to your virtual hands.
Hi, Eddie. How's it going? Donna Corby here from MMA Island. This is a big fight coming up this weekend, but I do want to look forward a week to Katie Taylor, who fights next week. I just spoke to Scott Coker recently, and he says that there is a dialogue there between you and Bellator about doing this Chris Cyborg super fight. However, he also said that a deal breaker is this MMA fight, which I thought was a polite way of saying we're not interested. Could you tell us exactly what's going on between you and Scott Coker and how likely it is that at some stage we see Katie Taylor step into the ring with Chris Cyborg?
Well, I think, women's boxing is something that I'm very, very proud of at the moment, and we've still got a long way to go. We've got a long way to go with regards to equality of exposure, equality of purses. But that, I had an interview with The Athletic this week, and they were saying, some women are saying that they're not, getting the same money for a world title fight as a male world title fight. It has nothing to do with male or female. It comes down to the commercial value of each individual fight. Now, the top end of women's boxing is already there. Katie Taylor is earning more than male world champions. We got a world championship triple header of female boxing coming next weekend with Katie Taylor. And for me, I look at those fights, those super fights, and I look at options for Katie Taylor, and Chris Cyborg is really one of them. Clarissa Shields against Savannah Marshall, that's another super fight that can land for early next year. But I think with Katie, that the crossover fight always creates a lot of interest. I can't imagine Katie Taylor in a cage, right? She's a boxing purist. But if Cyborg wanted to entertain a boxing match, and there's not been any negotiations, but I've certainly reached out to Scott Coker and said, I think that's a super fight. And at some point, Chris Cyborg is going to want, the biggest financial fight available. So we'll see if Katie Taylor can get past Gutierrez next week, but we'd certainly be open to Taylor versus Cyborg in 2021.
Jeremy?
All right. Hi, Eddie. Thank you for your time. You were talking about how for Devin, this is the type of fight that he needs to kind of gauge where he's at. Will you make a decision on his next opponent based on how he performs in this fight? Meaning, will you match him up depending on what you see from him here?
You know what, Jeremy? Devin is one of those few young fighters who is completely up for fighting absolutely anyone in the division and has been consistently. I mean, don't forget, when we decided to go down the WBC route, this was purely to chase Vasily Lomachenko. I sat down with Devin and his dad and I said, look, you've got all these governing bodies. You're up there in all of them. You tell me, what do you want to do? He said, I want to fight Lomachenko. I said, okay, well, if we get this final eliminator and Lomachenko obviously was fighting Campbell, you will be the mandatory challenger to Lomachenko. That's what we want to do. As soon as he won that fight, we went to the WBC convention and we pitched to the WBC to order that fight immediately. At the same time, Top Rank pitched to the WBC that Vasily Lomachenko be made franchise champion. So unfortunately, we missed the boat. That's another discussion I'm sure might come up on the Zoom call about, world champions. So the great thing about working with Devin is him and Bill truly believe they can beat anyone at 135 pounds. They also understand they're not going to be at 135 pounds forever. He's a very big lightweight. He could move to 140 now, but all of a sudden, all the big fights or majority of the big fights sit at 135 pounds. So I think that any victory would lead to him fighting the likes of Ryan Garcia, Teofimo Lopez, Vasily Lomachenko. But the way in which he deals with Gamboa at the weekend is really important to how quickly he moves. But to be honest with you, Jeremy, I don't think that mentally, thank you. I don't think that I can do anything about it because Bill and Devin are a million miles an hour, and Bill obviously knows Devin inside out. He probably is a little bit biased because he's his father. But at the same time, I didn't really believe that when Teofimo Lopez beat Richard Commey that he would really fight Vasily Lomachenko. I heard all the noise and I thought, no, look, this guy could be a star. Surely he's going to have one defense, two defenses, and then go on and fight Vasily Lomachenko. These young guys are made of different stuff. And Devin is cut from exactly the same cloth as Teofimo and Tank. They really believe they can beat everybody and they have no fear in doing it. So, from my point of view, a devastating performance from Devin on Saturday would give me full confidence to go out and risk it all against, look, when we look at the ones that are fully proven is Tank and his Teofimo. They have passed the elite level tests. On Saturday, Devin faces his real test. Ryan Garcia, who, by the way, is a great fighter and a great, fine young man, is yet to take anywhere near that test yet. I believe he has fantastic ability, but his test comes on December 5th against Luke Campbell. So it's great to see, both Devin and Ryan having those tests to prove if the hype is real. I have to take my hat off to Tank and to, although Tank is yet to have a real 135 pound fight, but, he's a quality fighter. He has had big fights and, Teofimo has passed the test. So now it's over to Devin and Ryan to show us what they can do before they enter the mega fight in 2021.
Much appreciated. Thank you, Eddie.
MREC TV, please.
Emrek, get that mute off, my man. Good,
Okay.
man.
Eddie, how you doing?
Good, thank you.
So now, Eddie, you said something very interesting with Teofimo Lopez and Tank. You know, they passed their tests. Do you think Devin has the power in the same league as those boxers?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I think that Teofimo Lopez is definitely a puncher. You know, how hard he punches. Obviously, it's a great knockout win over Commey. You know, he had enough power to keep Lomachenko off. And Tank, you know, knocked out a super bantamweight and featherweight, you know, great fighter, someone that's crept up to super featherweight. The truth is that Leo Santa Cruz is not really a super featherweight. He's definitely not a lightweight. But listen, the fight was made at super featherweight. So Tank's power at lightweight still has to be questioned, you know, until he's knocking out big, proper lightweights. But he's a fantastic fighter. Devin is a very, very sharp puncher. You know, you saw that against Antonio Moran. You saw that against Abdullayev, who's very, very tough. He broke his orbital bone, you know. And I think that sometimes, you know, Devin is so young. And when these fighters learn to sit down on their shots more and more, they start to carry more power. And as their confidence and belief grows in the ring, they will carry more and more power. So, yeah, I think that Devin definitely punches hard enough. I expect this fight to be back and forth. You know, I really feel, speaking to Gamboa's team, that they kind of look at this as we're throwing the kitchen sink at this opportunity. This might be our last one. And they definitely believe that there are question marks. Listen, if I was on Gamboa's team, I would be sort of pushing the question to Gamboa saying, we just don't know about this kid, you know? We know he's got talent. We know he's got ability, but we just don't know when the going gets tough or when he steps up to the levels, if he is as good as people say he is. So there is that doubt. And Devin has to prove, and he wants to make a real statement. And I think that's the difference between these young guys that I said. Devin, he don't just want to win on Saturday night. He wants to shock all you guys. He wants all you guys to say, wow, this kid's right up there. He wants you to say, I think he can beat Tank. I think he can beat Teofimo, or I think he can hang with those guys. And the only way he can do that is to beat Gamboa better and more convincingly than a Tank did, or put a performance together that you guys go, wow, you know. And that's kind of the pressure more than anything. You know, I'm just thinking, win, you know, defend your world title. And we got massive fights in 2021. He's thinking, I want to knock this guy out. I want to look sensational. I want all you guys to think that I am as good as Tank and I am as good as Teofimo. And those fights are super fights. What we need you guys and the fans being left with from this fight on DAZN on Saturday is we must see those. You know, we must see those. Give us Haney against Garcia or Campbell. Give us Haney against Tank. Now, because right now it's kind of like after those two performances, it's like, give us Lopez and give us Tank. All right. And yeah, Haney and Garcia, they're great as well. Now, on Monday, we want to say, give us Haney Tank, give us Haney Lopez, give us Haney Garcia or Campbell. So he's looking to make a statement. And in answer to your question, yeah, I do believe he carries the power. And I think he's a very big 135-pounder.
Thank you.
Hans next, please. As I said in the chat, guys, please follow the chat. Thank you. Hans.
Hey Eddie, how you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
So yeah, before Teofimo fought and beat Lomachenko, obviously, you thought really highly of Lomachenko. If I'm not mistaken, I think you had him number one on your pound for pound list. Since the loss, he's obviously dropped a few spots. But let's forget about the loss for 1 second, and let's just say that you know, Haney was able to get his wish and face off against Lomachenko before he fought Lopez. Do you think Haney could have got that win, or would you have favored Lomachenko to win? How would you have seen that playing out?
If Haney boxed Lomachenko?
Yeah, before he fought Lopez.
Look, I rate Lomachenko so highly. I mean, I think he's a great guy. I think he's a great fighter. I gave a great prediction for that Lomachenko Lopez fight where I said, I think Lomachenko would win every round. You know, how wrong was I? I woke up on Sunday morning and checked my phone. I couldn't believe what I saw. Look, one thing's for sure, you know, speaking to Aegis Klimas, he said he wishes they would have pulled out the fight with a shoulder injury. But, you know, they were worried they might not get an opportunity. But it doesn't matter. What Lopez done was he came in with the belief and he walked the walk, you know, and he could have made himself look very silly if he would have lost every round. But he was too good on the night, and he deserves a massive amount of credit. Bill Haney and Devin Haney saw or believed that they were the ones that could beat Vasily Lomachenko. So it's easy for me now to say, yeah, Devin would have done exactly what Teofimo did. But on that night, I believe for sure Devin Haney would have beaten Vasily Lomachenko. Now, if that fight appears for us, you know, obviously we know that. And by the way, when Top Rank made sure that Devin Haney be mandatory to Vasily Lomachenko, it's not Vasily Lomachenko's fault. He would fight anyone. So I have to think that that fight is another potential fight for Devin Haney if Devin and Bill were up for that. You know, if we can't get Teofimo Lopez, then the Vasily Lomachenko fight is still a very big fight for Devin Haney. But like I said, I believe that you know, the next fight for Devin Haney after this is the winner of Ryan Garcia against Luke Campbell. But in answer to your question, I believe Devin Haney on that night would have beaten Vasily Lomachenko as well.
Gotcha. So I want to follow that up with talking about Gamboa. You mentioned a few times that, you know, the way that Haney is gonna, you know, pretty much get his star power up, get his name up, you know, is you have to go in there and do a real number on Gamboa. So my question to you is, does it really matter? I ask you that because, you know, Gamboa was terrific. Like I've always told people, he used to be Lomachenko before Lomachenko. Just my opinion. He was really, really terrific in his prime. But right now, he's about to be 39 at the end of December. He's already had, I mean, all of his losses came via knockout. So it's like a lot of people expect Haney to win, and they expect him to win extremely comfortably, either winning every round or winning by stoppage. So, you know, I guess the question is, does it really do anything for him? Or would you rather, after he gets past Gamboa, I know you want Ryan Garcia versus Luke Campbell winner, but would you be interested in just putting him in there with a guy like Jorge Linares? I think a win over Linares would be pretty big for him.
That's a good fight. We asked Golden Boy for that fight, and they already had a fight scheduled for Fortuna, which actually fell away. I disagree a little bit with what you're saying. I think, you know, we know the talk about how good Haney is, but when you compare Gamboa to Abdullayev, which was his best victory so far, they are gulfs apart. You know, I think people are tending to forget the fact that, you know, he did well against Gervonta Davis. He ruptured his Achilles in the second round, and he battled away in that fight, and he got stopped, you know, with what in the final round. So I do expect, and I think the pressure is on Devin Haney, because everybody just expects Devin Haney to blow through these guys. That's fine as long as Devin Haney is the superstar that we all perceive him to be. But this is by far the biggest test of his career. And I think when you're fighting a guy as good as Gamboa with as much experience, that sort of says, this is my final chance to win a world title, then I think you're going to get a guy who's coming to win. And I think you're going to get a guy who's much, much better than anything Devin Haney has ever fought. So like I said, if I was in the Gamboa team, this is the kind of thing that I'd be drumming in. We don't know. Might be all right with this kid. You know, I don't think so. I think he's the best lightweight in the world potentially. So let's see him pass the next test. But in answer to your question, I don't mind the Linares fight next, actually. I think that's a good fight. But I do think that the way, you know, the way fight fans are, they don't want to wait, do they? And by the way, Devin Haney doesn't want to wait. So when fight fans don't want to wait, Haney doesn't want to wait, Bill doesn't want to wait, the team don't want to wait, let's see it. Let's see if this guy is the real deal. And you imagine you get to, you know, 2021 and you're talking about fights between Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney, Tank against Lopez or Tank against Haney. These are the super fights. And it's not a case of, you know, when we go back to the 147-pound division, where it was like, you know, Mayweather, Pacquiao, you know, guys that are approaching the end of their careers. You know, even now, Keith Thurman, Danny Garcia, Pacquiao, you know, who knows how long, you know, even a fighter like Spence has got left. You know, Crawford is still got time, but he's, you know, they're all guys, these guys are just starting. You know, these guys have got 3, 4, 5 years moving from 135 to 140, mixing it up, fighting all these guys, Jose Ramirez, Josh Taylor. You know, there's so many great fights for these guys, and I'm very excited. But I think he's under a lot of pressure, because if he beats Gamboa unconvincingly, you know, the hype bubble bursts a little bit. So he will be doing everything he can to make a major statement on Saturday.
Danny Flexen, please.
Hey Eddie, how you doing?
Hey, Danny.
Good to see you, mate. Just a quick one. I'm sorry to take you off topic, but I feel like I'm representing the UK a little bit here, and we all want to know what's happening with the Dillian Whyte situation. We saw a couple of people throw their hat in the ring yesterday. Derek Chisora being one, Michael Hunter another. Just what's the latest on that November 21st show?
So just taking a nice picture of you guys. That's fine. So the situation is that the fight that he wants more than anything is Alexander Povetkin, even. You know, I think that obviously he has to rectify that defeat, or try to rectify that defeat. There is one fight, I believe, that he would take, and that's Tyson Fury on December 5th. I mean, I'm not sure we expect that to happen, but at the end of the day, unquestionably, Dillian Whyte would fight Tyson Fury on December the 5th if they wanted to discuss that fight. Chisora came on, you know, it was a little bit of, you know, it's 2.5 weeks now. Realistically, we will postpone that fight with Alexander Povetkin to January the 30th. And, you know, I think any fighter who has trained for 8 weeks and then loses his fight says, I just want to fight. And yesterday, that was very much the opinion, you know, but Dillian Whyte has got a pay-per-view slot, and yeah, Derek Chisora possibly, you know, that fight can work. Michael Hunter even threw his name into the hat for free, apparently, you know, but that's not a pay-per-view fight for November 21st, especially with the clutter coming up. So I said to Dillian, unless we get asked to fight Tyson Fury, which he would do in a heartbeat, you just got to wait till January 30th. I mean, that's the fight for you, and that's what we'll do. And we'll announce that in the next 24 hours, and we'll also keep the Saturday night fight night with Ben against Sebastian Formella headlining that card with the other undercard underneath that. So, you know, we then go on a run of Saturday night fight nights in the UK with Katie Taylor, Conor Benn, and of course Billy Joe Saunders against Martin Murray.
Great stuff, Eddie. Thank you.
It's all right from now.
Marcos. Guys, please follow the chat. Marcos is next.
Yes. I unmuted. Hey, Eddie, how's it going? Good to see you, man.
Good to see you.
Hey, man, it's been a real long time since I've had a chance to chat with you, so it's good to see you. 2 questions for you, Eddie. The first being, since we saw a show last Saturday with a size amount of fans, what is Matchroom's plan in the U.S. to get fans in the arenas? Are we relatively close, or are you guys still being cautious with that?
I'm definitely being cautious. I mean, the guys have done such a great job. You know, we went to Mexico, obviously, a couple of weeks ago, and obviously it's the situation is a lot worse there. We're keeping these fights as safe as possible for the fighters and their teams and our staff as well. Very important. Shout out to Eric Botcher, our matchmaker. Unfortunately, went down with COVID, and you know, all the other guys were tested and they were all good. And every event now, Marcos, is like a sort of cross your fingers scenario. You know, I just read that Bachel tested positive there, you know, and, you know, our guys got tested yesterday negative, and it's like, you know, obviously Alexander Povetkin got it yesterday. So the key for us now is to make sure we can maintain the momentum of the sport, keep the fights coming for our broadcast partners, and keep our fighters active. The second phase of that is to bring fans back into the arenas. Okay, so we saw obviously on Saturday Santa Cruz and Tank. I think it was like 7,000-8,000 there or something. I think in a way it's great for the sport. We just have to be a little bit careful and responsible. You know, how safe was that for the fans there? Now, obviously, the difference between our small country here and your great country is you have individual states that you know are making decisions on what's allowed and what's not allowed. You know, and for us, we have one decision, and that is no fans. So in America right now, my plan is obviously with Devin Haney this weekend, with Danny Jacobs coming out on November the 27th. and then probably with Gennady Golovkin, towards the end of December, all of those events will take place behind closed doors. The model is in place. We can make sure that we can, keep the dates coming. Like I said, keep providing for our broadcasters. Then when we go into 2021, that's when we have to start seeing, one of the early fights for us looks like Chocolatito against Juan Estrada. That would be almost criminal if we didn't have, at the old StubHub Center or in Phoenix or, a massive crowd for a fight like that. So we live and breathe with live crowds, and it's very important for us to bring them back, but safely. But that's kind of like the next project. Right now, the project is to keep going, to keep rolling with these shows, keep delivering for our fighters and our broadcasters.
My last question for you, Eddie, is the winner of this fight mandated in any way to fight the winner of Ryan and Luke? Like what is the fight?
I mean, it's the other way around, really. I think that obviously Devin is a WBC world champion. That is a final eliminator, Gamboa against Garcia. And that's the natural fight. I mean, not just because these guys are on the same platform, but, that is the route that it should take. I would like the WBC to mandate Devin Haney to fight Teofimo Lopez. That's really what they should be doing. But, the franchise is untouchable, which is something I don't agree with. But certainly the winner of Ryan Garcia against Luke Campbell should be mandated to fight Devin Haney.
All right. Thank you, Eddie. Appreciate it.
All right, good to see you.
Crystal, next, please.
Yes. Hi, Eddie.
Oh.
Am I unmuted?
Yeah, you're good.
Good. Okay. Hi, Eddie. What I wanted to ask is basically if this is a great performance and this is a great fighter against Gamboa, I've followed him for years and years, how easy or difficult will it be to work with Top Rank and also the PBC? Do you think that those type of fights can get together, or what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think that the good news to come from the pandemic is that definitely promotional companies are, keen to do good business, So I think that right now, if I'm Bob Arum, I'm kind of like looking at Teofimo Lopez going, oh, God, this guy's going to get super expensive. He's going to want the world, But the good news about Teofimo is I think he genuinely wants the big fights. I think he wants to fight Devin and Tank and, Ryan Garcia, because I think a lot of these guys are not going to stay at 135, particularly Devin and Teofimo. They're guys that are right on the cusp right now, looking to go to 140 already. So I think that, you're going to get guys. And I think that, I think a lot of promotional companies who may not have been running, slick businesses, who may not have built the cash reserves over the years, will be in positions where they're under more pressure financially to make bigger fights than just give their fighters easy fights. And listen, from a broadcaster perspective, I think the demands of a broadcaster will change as well. I don't think DAZN will want, to see Devin Haney against an unknown top 15 opponent next. I think they'll want to say, Ryan Garcia, Luke Campbell winner, fight Devin Haney. And so they should, because they're the kind of fights that are going to drive subscribers and create interest in the sport. So, for me, I really feel that it's never going to be easy to do cross-promotional fights, but I think that people won't want to be wasting money anymore, which is good news for fight fans. And I think the pressure will also come from I know that Devin Haney and Bill will be putting pressure on me after Saturday if they win in style to make them a mega fight next. And then it's on me, and that's what I have to deliver for them.
Thank you.
Ames, next question, please.
Ames here for Boxing News TV. How are you doing, Eddie? You okay?
Good, thanks, mate.
Eddie, just a quick follow-up on Danny Flexen and then a question on Usyk versus Chisora. I just want to follow up on Danny Flexen.
That's one question, guys. Come on.
No worries. I remember you suggesting Michael Hunter as an opponent for Tyson Fury. Could you answer why you think Michael Hunter is an acceptable opponent for Tyson Fury, but not then for Dillian Whyte?
Because Tyson Fury is the world heavyweight champion. He is a bigger name than Dillian Whyte. And what I said was, it's not that he's not an acceptable opponent, but unfortunately, Dillian Whyte against Michael Hunter would not be approved as a pay-per-view fight on Sky Sports. So, I don't work with Tyson Fury's broadcaster, but Tyson Fury, one of the biggest stars in the sport, against Michael Hunter for the World Heavyweight Championship would be a pay-per-view fight. And when you're talking about the likes of Tyson Fury against Ajit Kabayel or Carlos Takam, the Michael Hunter fight is a much, much bigger and better fight than those two fights that are already approved for pay-per-view.
Can I follow up with the question? Is that okay?
Quick one, yeah.
Sure. Just taking your mind to Usyk versus Chisora, would you concede that in these COVID times when we have a reduced atmosphere, there are those at ringside on fight night who are partisan to a particular fighter, and I'm talking about outside of the cornermen, and they're audible on the presentation of the fight. They can affect the presentation and sway the opinion of others at ringside and the viewers at home watching. Would it be better in terms of the viewing and neutrality to not have that partisanship at ringside?
No, because everybody has the same numbers there. So, unfortunately, Tony Bellew was there working on behalf of the broadcaster. David Hay is Chisora's manager, right? And they were the two guys making virtually all the noise for Derek Chisora. Next to me was Alexander Krasuk, he's my co-promoter, and Egis Klimas, and another one of their guests. They just chose not to make the noise. I do think you have a point, sitting there during the fight, sitting next to David Hay, listening, I thought the fight finished and I was like, this is close. And then I went over to Sky and BBC and they were like, no, Usyk's won 8-4, 8-7-5. It's comprehensive. And I'm like, so in that respect, yeah, I actually think that judges should wear headphones. You see that a lot, actually. I believe the WBC have some opinions on that as well. But actually, if that fight was at the O2, in front of 18,000 Brits, you may have got a lot tighter scoring in that contest. And that's more of a concern than one or two blokes just screaming and shouting from the back of the room. I actually quite like it, to be honest with you, because we have no atmosphere at the moment. And if you were in the arena, it was actually quite compelling. It's better when you get two sets of representatives screaming and shouting. But Usyk's team were a little bit calmer. They obviously felt they were a lot more comfortable in the fight and chose not to. But, I don't mind the screaming and shouting, but I do think that it does raise the question of whether judges should wear headphones. I think the scoring was quite comprehensive. And if the scoring would have been controversial, I think your question would have a lot more validity.
Thanks, Eddie.
Okay, guys, Devin is here now.
There he is, the champ.
Good day, mate.
How are you, mate?
Good.
What's up, champ?
How you doing?
So, guys, just to introduce, obviously, there's a few aces in the pack right now. This is the ace, the big ace, the 135 WBC world champion, getting ready for another defense of his world title on Saturday live on DAZN against Yurokis Gamboa. We're going to pass over the floor for WBC world champ.
Just say a few words.
Devin, do you want to just say a few words? Ready there in Miami? Couple of days to go.
Hey, say it one more time. I couldn't.
A few words from you before we go to questions from everybody on this Zoom. Ready to go there in Miami? You look great. It's been a long time coming.
Yeah.
I said before you're online, I know that the victory is important, but you're ready to make a real statement on Saturday.
Yeah, that's the key to this fight. I want to go in there and I want to make a statement. I want to beat Gamboa worse than he's ever been beat before. He's been in there with a lot of top guys and he's given them the fight of their lives. So, the hardest fight, their hardest test. But to me, I want to go in there and, pitch a shutout. I want the world to know that I'm on a total different level, and I can't wait to do that on November 7th.
Okay, first question, Nikhil.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, my question is, after watching some of the previews and some of the coverage on Gamboa, do you feel like you're checked out, like any challenges you're facing for Saturday night?
Yeah, he's fast. He's strong. He's explosive. He comes to fight every single time. He doesn't lay down. He doesn't go out easy. No one has just got him out of there easy without him, fighting back or trying to hurt you back. So he's a very dangerous opponent. So I have to be, mindful of that.
Okay, and I have another question.
Especially when he's hurt.
I have another question. So we've seen like Floyd Jr., we've seen Teofimo Lopez struggle with the relationships with their father as their trainer. Has there been any type of struggles or any type of difficulties training with your father?
No. The only problem that we had was this morning when he woke me up to work out. That's the only thing we don't have any problems.
Good luck Saturday night.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Hey, Devin,
Rich.
Is it for me?
Rick was good.
Hey, what's happening, brother? How you doing? Roller Sports Media. I understand what you're saying is you want to be explosive more so this fight than any of your previous fights. Is it fair to say Eddie said he would like for you to wow all of the boxing media come Saturday night? Would it be fair to say a stoppage would definitely do that and make people say, wow?
I mean, of course, a stoppage or knockout is the best way to win in boxing. That would be amazing if I would go in there and I knock Gamboa out, especially, if it happens early. But I know that Gamboa is a crafty opponent and he's not going to go out easy. He's going to fight to the finish. So I have to be mindful of that, like I said. But of course, I want to go in there and I want to make a statement. And whether it's a early stoppage, a late stoppage, or just a 12-round beatdown, I want to make a statement.
Devin, you saw...
He went mute. Okay, Jim, let's go.
Yeah. Devin, you saw how resilient Gamboa was against Tank Davis, even with the injury. Are you trying to make a statement that this is a fit Gamboa, that you're going to put him to the sword early and really go for the kill?
Yeah, that's definitely something I want to do. I want to, like I said, I want to show that, Gamboa won't have any success with me. He won't, he went in there, he landed big shots with Crawford, he landed big shots with Tank, but with Devin Haney, I don't want him to be able to have any type of success.
Thanks, Devin.
Say one more time.
Thanks. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Hi, Devin.
Someone pass me that water over there.
Hi, Devin. Cynthia.
Hey, Cynthia, how you doing?
Good. So I know that you watched the Teofimo fight. I know that you also had a FaceTime with him. Talk about what you saw in that fight. Do you find him dangerous? Because I know eventually you're going to want to fight for this whole WBC discrepancy. And what did you guys talk about on this Zoom or the FaceTime call? You guys touched it? I didn't know you.
You were going in and out, but you said, what did we talk about on FaceTime? Me and Teofimo?
Yeah, you and Teofimo. And what did you think of this fight? Performance.
It was just a brief conversation. It wasn't nothing too much. But I'm not gonna say what exactly was said because we spoke like men, and it was after his fight, so I give him that type of that respect. What I can say is that we talked about is a fight happening. He said go in there and look good against Gamboa, and I told him congrats. So that's what I can.
Yeah, if you defend your WBC belt, I know that there's the Garcia and Campbell fight. The man that you should be fighting the mandatory on that, but Teofimo is a franchise. If you were able to choose, I know it's for the WBC supremacy, would you just be able to take that Teofimo fight if possible?
Well, I'm not interested in winning a franchise title. That's not something that I really want to do. But I am willing to fight for the undisputed for all the belts against Teofimo. But for the franchise is not really something that I'm looking forward to or anything like that.
All right, best of luck to you, Devin.
Thank you, Cynthia.
Reggie next, please.
Hey, how's it going, champ?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good.
Hey, credit to you and your father with what you chose to do with your career, the route that you've taken. I see you guys working social media quite a bit and, to promote yourself and what's going on with you. Just what's your thoughts on, we continue to hear comments, negative comments about the app and nobody pays attention to it. But it's kind of ironic because so many people follow the sport Monday through Friday on social media. But then when it comes to you guys fighting, it's this disconnect. So what's your reaction to that?
At the end of the day, they can say what they want, but, after Devin Haney fights, people know the results. They know what happened. They're tuning in and they're watching, whether they like it or not. They're gonna watch.
Love to you Saturday, Jim.
Thank you so much.
Hi, Devin. Thank you for speaking to us today. How are you?
Sorry, just one thing from me on that. There'll be a lot more people watching Devin Haney fight live this Saturday than there was watching Leo Santa Cruz against Tank Davis fight live last week.
The question was actually in part to you, Eddie, so thanks.
Hi, Devin. Thank you for your time today. Just one question from me. You've spoken before about, this eventual move up to 140 pounds. I was just wondering how you're feeling at 135 at this present time and how many fights you feel you have left at 135 as well.
Honestly, my weight has been great this fight. Honestly, and I say this from really the bottom of my heart. If I had weight problems, I would tell you it's been hard, but this weight cut has been unbelievable. I think it was, just from a year being off during quarantine and, giving my body time to rest and recover. I feel great at 135 right now. It's so many big fights to be made. Who knows? Who knows what the future holds? Of course, I'm looking forward to going to 140 eventually, but it's so many big fights to be made at 135. I'm willing to stay here for a little bit longer.
Thank you for your time, Devin. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Allan Jones, please. Allan Jones.
Devin, yeah, speaking. Devin, how you doing, man? Allan Jones from In the Ring. How you doing?
Doing good. How you doing?
Good. Now, looking forward this weekend, are you predicting any knockouts or what can we exactly expect from you to see?
I'm not really into predicting the knockouts because I feel like knockouts, when you go looking for them, it makes it much harder for them to come. But I do predict a very dominant performance. Of course, I hope for a knockout. I want to go in there and I want to entertain the fans and go in there and knock Gamboa out. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But I'm going to go in there and I'm going to give it my all to entertain the people.
KO Artist Sports next, please.
I'm doing good. How you doing?
But
I mean, at the end of the day, he kept saying that he was willing to fight me because he knows that, that he gains from fighting me. It's something there. He knows that he doesn't feel right, without fighting me for, the real undisputed, everything, all the belts. He knows that he's not undisputed without fighting me. So that's all that just proved. Whether he can say email, whatever, he didn't get the email. Thank you.
Devin DePaul next.
Here's Anthony. Hi, Devin. You okay? Just a quick question on the possible Teofimo Lopez fight. If that fight does get made, I mean, how do you see yourself winning that fight? Does he cause you any problems? I mean, you saw the win over Lomachenko. How do you see that fight going down? What kind of things would you be doing?
I mean, every fight, you go in there and you can watch, you can look, you can watch as much film as you want. But until you go in there and actually, go in there with the fighter, you never know what type of, problems they bring you, what type of style they have. So I wouldn't know, but I do know that I will be victorious against him. I'm not sure how the fight will play out as of right now, but I know that I see myself being victorious.
Good stuff. Good luck. Thank you.
Thank you.
Danny Flexen, have you got one, mate?
Hey, Devin, how you doing?
How you doing?
Yeah, good, thank you. I wanted to ask you just a quick question about the Lopez-Lomachenko fight. In that Top Rank and ESPN both seem to market the fight as undisputed, which hardcore fans will have known wasn't entirely accurate, but I think casual fans may have been fooled into thinking it was for all four major belts. What did you make of that, and were you at all offended by it?
Yeah, I knew that the casual, it was a casual fans who believed it. I knew that the real hardcore boxing fans knew that it wasn't a real undisputed fight, and that's pretty much what the WBC said as well. That that it's not for an undisputed fight; it's for the franchise title. And at the end of the day, that is what it is. I knew that it really wasn't for an undisputed fight. So that's why you guys didn't see me splash on the internet or go out and try to prove anything, because after the fight, who did he mention? He mentioned the real WBC champ. So that's all that matters.
Thanks, Devin. Best of luck.
JR Bell, please.
All right there, Brother Devin. Like earlier this week, there was an interview through Ryan Garcia, and he said that he wasn't fancying a fight with you next if he defeats Luke Campbell. What are your feelings about that? And also the comments of him saying that you're part of the 4 horsemen of the lightweight division.
No problem. That's okay. If he feels like that, then so be it. Ryan Garcia has Instagram followers. He doesn't have a belt. He doesn't. I really don't gain anything but Instagram followers fighting him. So that's fine. I'll move forward and to the champions in the weight class.
I would just like to say as well that Devin is actually the only of these 4 horsemen that people tend to make excuses about not fighting. You listen to Ryan Garcia. No, I'm not. Why on earth? Why are you fighting Luke Campbell? Because the winner is mandatory for Devin Haney. Why on earth would you want to fight Luke Campbell to become mandatory to Devin Haney if you don't want to fight Devin Haney? Right? Bob Arum says, oh no, Haney's not in the mix. Haney's not in the mix. Bob Arum, I've never heard anyone talk so negatively about a fighter like Bob Arum talks about Devin Haney. I mean, he may just be bitter that he never got to work with him, and he knows he's the real deal. But Devin, you remember when we were at that press conference after the fight in Phoenix, and Bob was like, no, we're not interested in Haney against, against Lomachenko, etc., etc. So if Ryan Garcia doesn't look at Devin Haney and think that's the fight for early 2021, he should pull out the Luke Campbell fight immediately, because he's probably going to get beat in that anyway.
Not gonna fight Devin Haney. My bad. Thanks, Eddie.
Marcos, please.
Hey, Devin. Good to see you, man.
Marcos, was good.
I'm good, man. Tired, stressed over this election here, as everybody is in the country.
Yeah.
Hey, piggybacking off of the last question that you had, I know when Eddie was speaking earlier, he had mentioned that more or less if you win this fight, you will be the mandatory to the winner between Luke and Ryan. How confident?
He'll be my mandatory. Yeah.
Yeah.
Say that as well.
Yeah.
They'll be your mandatory. Clearly, he feels that Luke is probably going to win that fight. In his opinion, Eddie does. But if Ryan does win, how confident are you that is going to be the next fight, or do you feel that is not going to happen next, and it's going to kind of like maybe draw out a bit to drum in what promoters would say in the past to marinate a fight like that?
On our side, we would love to fight, but on his side, of course, he said that he said that a fight with me bores him. He'd rather fight a guy with power in both hands and some crazy nonsense that I never heard of. So it just shows you that he's not really willing to fight me. which is fine. We move on. A fight with Ryan Garcia is not the end of the world. Like I said, he has Instagram followers. I want to get belts.
Cool. Just one last question, Devin. This is your first experience being out there under these conditions. I'm just kind of curious, how have you been handling going through all the precautions and all the different things as compared to other fights before?
I'm making the best out of it. I'm just happy that I passed my COVID test. Like that was the whole camp. I was just thinking like, oh my God, like I hope I pass this test, hope I pass this test, hope I pass this test. Cause it would suck if you did a whole training camp and you did everything and then you get finally here and then you don't pass. But I'm happy that my whole team passed, we all passed. And now I'm really ready to go. Now I know that the fight is on.
Well, you just keep your fingers crossed.
Right, Devin,
is negative.
Eddie would know.
Thank you, Devin. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Ellie Sekback, please.
What's up, Devin? How you feeling?
Ellie, I'm feeling good. How you doing?
I'm doing great. So Eddie said something very interesting a few minutes ago before you were live. He said that you chose the WBC route because you were confident you would beat Loma and you wanted that fight. So how would a fight with you and Loma look?
I mean, I'm not sure exactly how it would look. I know I'll be victorious, and I've been saying it since, for a while now. But it's like, if Loma was to want to fight me now, it would be like, dude, you for a whole year, he acted like I didn't even exist. He wouldn't even say my name. He wouldn't even say anything. He wouldn't even think about me. So now it's like, oh, you want to fight now? It would be crazy to me. Now we're moving forward to Teofimo. The fight with Teofimo makes all the sense in the world for the real undisputed. And yeah.
Have you ever sparred Teofimo? Because I know you sparred Tank.
Yeah, me and Teofimo sparred twice.
What did you take from that experience?
Well, we sparred one time at just one gym in Vegas. We sparred twice, and it was a boxing lesson. That's all I can say. At the end of the day, I went in there and boxed his socks off.
Okay, thank you. Ames next, please.
Hey, Devin. Pleasure to meet you. I'm here from Boxing News TV. Keep up the good work on Real Devin Haney TV as well. Been enjoying your content. Devin, you stand as WBC
we're
champion.
We're filming right now as we speak. So.
Brilliant. Devin, you stand as WBC champion and a proud one at that. Do you feel the WBC franchise championship and status undermines your position as WBC champion?
Yeah, I do feel like the WBC. I feel like the franchise title is a belt made for ducking. That's what I honestly feel. I feel like it's a belt where you don't have any mandatories. You don't have to fight mandatory. So what's the point? What is the point of what do you get out of winning a franchise title?
Thanks, Devin.
No disrespect to WBC, but that's what I feel like the franchise belt is made for.
The crazy thing is that Top Rank requested that Vasily Lomachenko be elevated to the franchise champion, so he didn't have to fight his mandatory, which was Devin Haney, and he got beat in his next fight anyway. He should have just taken care of his mandatory obligation and fought Devin Haney.
And then they did the same thing for Teofimo. Teofimo petitioned to get the franchise to fight Loma for the franchise title. So it's like, what's the point?
Sorry, guys, that's my fault there. I was just saying hello to Filip Ergovic. Let's have Crystal next, please.
Hi. What I wanted to ask you is, I liked what you said about rest and relaxation as far as, so maybe the shoulder, it helped you out. I think athletes, we all have the problem of never resting enough. But with the COVID, all of this, tell us a little bit about your camp. Your father, Bill, what does he have to say? And was Zab Judah, your godfather, anybody there? Or could you go into a little bit of depth about all your training?
Yeah, during quarantine, it just was, we were training at my house. Me and my dad, we built a gym at my house, and that was like the beginning. Because like in the middle of quarantine, it was when I was like fully recovered. I was able to train and everything like that. So then that's how we started training. And then We did that for a couple weeks or whatever. Then that's when we went to the boxing gym. My whole camp was in Vegas this time. Normally I go to Snack and go train with Victor Conte and the whole Snack family. But this time, me and my dad did training all at home in Vegas.
Okay. And just his thoughts on Gamboa, who is an excellent fighter.
I think Gamboa is an excellent fighter, and I think a lot of people are sleeping on him. I think that, a lot of people are sleeping on him, that they forget that he went in there and he was Tank's toughest test. He put up a better fight than Leo Santa Cruz did, and everyone is praising Leo Santa Cruz. No disrespect to him. He did go in there and put up a good fight, but Gamboa put up a better fight with a torn Achilles. So you cannot go in there and think that Gamboa is a slouch or someone who's washed up. He went in there and he hurt with a torn Achilles. So I cannot sleep on him. I know that he's going to come to fight.
Thank you.
Thank you. And the final question for Devin. Thanks so much, Devin, for doing this. The final question is from Eric Woodward.
Hey, what's up, Devin? How you doing, man?
I'm good. How you doing?
This is Eric Woodward from ESPN, man. I got a chance to catch up with you and your dad yesterday. We talked a little bit about that shoulder injury, man. How long was that process of healing your shoulder and before you were able to actually do any training and just that year off, man? Can you go into that, just how much did that motivate you that year off?
I want to say about maybe 4 to 5 months of just of nothing, of doing nothing, just probably maybe run from time to time. Because at first I couldn't even run because they were saying you can't run with your shoulder like that. But I needed it, honestly. I was fighting so much. I was training so hard. I'm a workhorse and I never stopped. So I feel like I finally, needed the break, and it gave me time to rest and recover. And now I'm here and I'm able to put my all into this fight because I know that I had time to recover, I had time to rest, I had time to have fun, I had time to, do other things. And so now this camp, I was able to give my all and know that, that I put my all into it, and I feel great. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much, Devin. Devin's got to move next door and do some stuff with the zone.
Thank you, champ.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Devin. And delighted to say that we've also got Nissa Sauerland on the line over there. I can see you there, Nissa. If you want to say a few words and Philip.
Hello, everyone hear me? Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Good stuff. How is everyone? I'm just introducing Philip, of course. I presume Philip's there already. I'm still stuck in Miami. We're looking forward to Saturday night. Of course, Philip's been around the pro game for a couple of years now. It seems longer because he's so far advanced with the rankings. But we're just excited to get back in the ring on Saturday night. I think Riddell Booker is a very good opponent for Philip. I think he'll give him some rounds. I think he's a slicker boxer than maybe some people give him credit for, fresher than most. I believe he's 42, I think it's a good fight for Philip. A good learning curve fight, but at the same time, we're looking for world titles next year, and we're very excited about Philip, and we think he can go all the way. Hi, Philip.
¿Qué pasa contigo, man?
How are you, my friend?
Good. You?
Good.
You at 11?
I'm at 11 nightclub at the moment. It's pretty wild here, Just me in a face mask.
No music there, huh?
No, nothing. Just my outfit, man. Just the outfit.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Nissa, and welcome along, Philip. First question from Carlos, please.
Hi, Philip. Thank you so much for taking time to talk to us. Really appreciate it. Obviously with the pandemic and everything, everyone has kind of had to sort of put their careers on hold for a little while. Was it frustrating having to wait for such a long time before you finally got that chance to be back and prepare for a fight, and now you're finally coming back to the ring this weekend?
Hi, everyone. Yeah, of course, it's hard situation in the whole world, and it was not simple. to wait so long. But I was training all the time. I was in the shape all the time. And I'm happy to be back in the game. I fought 5 weeks ago in Denmark, and now I'm fighting again. So it's good, all good. I'm happy.
Right. Thanks, Philip.
Ryan Elliott next, please.
Hi, Philip. Thank you for joining us today. Just one question from myself. Your opponent got into this weekend, very durable guy, went the 10 rounds with Kubrat Pulev. What do you want to get out of this weekend? Is it about getting the rounds against a durable opponent? You're looking to make a statement and maybe get the stoppage? What is it you want out of this fight?
Yeah, he showed very good boxing against Kubrat Pulev. And I want to make statement. I want to stop him. And before 10 rounds, and yeah, that's I want to do. I want to stop him before.
Thank you, Philip. Best of luck.
Thank you, man.
Rick Mohammed next, please. Okay, if Rick isn't going to answer, Devin next, please. Devin Pal.
Thank you, Anthony. Hi, Philip. Just a quick question from me. Obviously, you'll be fighting this Saturday night. We've got Joe Joyce and Daniel Dubois fighting in a few weeks' time as well. Do you fancy the winner out of that? Are you planning next after this fight? What would be the ideal solution for you?
Can you repeat who I think is going to win or what?
Yep, so Daniel Dubois versus Joe Joyce are fighting on November the 28th. So first of all, who do you think is going to win that? And would you fancy the winner out of those two?
Okay. I think, it's a great fight to happen for boxing fans, and head down to Dubois and Joyce, both of them, to accepting that fight. It's hard for both. And I think Joe Joyce's experience, it's very important. He go through a lot in amateurs. He win a lot of medals. And it's my opinion that he has a better chance to win in that fight because of his experience. And of course, I would like to fight the winner of that fight. That will be great for me, but it's on this beautiful mister who you see in the screen, Nisse. It's on him to make a deal, for me. And but I would like to fight the winner. That's for sure.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Ames here for Boxing News TV. Hi, Philip. Philip, I just wanted to ask you, it seems to be general consensus that once Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua kind of move out the heavyweight division and I suppose retire, you're kind of next in line to kind of dominate. What do you think of that, and who do you think would be your main competitor to that heavyweight crown?
Well, it's hard to predict what situation gonna be in a few years or in, I don't know, even in a few months. That's heavyweight boxing. We saw a lot of surprises, a lot of this kind of things, and it's hard to predict. And I'm glad to hear that from you, that it's your opinion that I'm gonna be next heavyweight king. Thank you for that, and I think that as well. So we'll see. I think I have tools to beat everyone out there. We'll see how situation will go.
Thanks, Philip.
Thank you.
Hi, Philip. Jonathan here from Pro Boxing Fans. Hope you're well. You've sparred Kubrat Pulev in the past. You've sparred Daniel Dubois. You've sparred some of the top heavyweights in the world currently. What did you take from sparring each of those briefly, and having sparred Kubrat Pulev in particular, how big a chance do you give him against Anthony Joshua?
I sparred a lot of great champions. You're right. I sparred Vladimir Klitschko. I sparred Deontay Wilder, David Hay, and all of these guys. And that gave me a lot of confidence. Sparring is sparring. Fight is a fight. It's totally different. But fighter feel when he is inside in the ring, he feel, how much he can do with. And that gave me a lot of confidence, these sparrings with all these guys. And a lot of them I spar as amateur. I was maybe 19, 20 years old. And now I'm much better prepared and much more mature. So that gave me a lot of confidence. And about Kubrat Pulev and Anthony Joshua, I think Kubrat prime time is behind him, and Anthony Joshua is in the much better years, much younger, much fresher, and I think it's he is now temporarily too fast for Pulev, and it will be hard for Pulev to match his quickness.
Thanks, Philip. That's a lot.
Reggie Woodson next, please.
Thanks for your time today, Khalid. So it looks like the championship picture is tied up, could be tied up through the end of 2021. We just saw a major setback with Dillian Whyte. How would you like to move with everything that's at stake? And as the other person just mentioned, you are a favorite as one of the guys to rise to the top of the division.
Yeah, thank you, man, for your opinion. And like I said, I also think that I have all the tools to come on the top. And what will be my way? I don't know. Who will I fight next? Now I need Rydell Booker. And from start of my professional career, I tell to my promoters, don't ask me, do I want to fight anyone? I want to fight all the great names. I feel ready for everyone. Like I said before, I spar a lot of great champions, and I know I'm 100% confident that I can do well with all of the top names. So I think I can do a lot in the heavyweight division, but how my road will be, I cannot tell you immediately. But of course, one thing is sure: I want to come on the top.
So, and we're learning about everybody's skill set. What will allow you to stand out? You just mentioned your tools. What will allow you to be a major player amongst the field?
I think I have all the tools. I'm fast. I'm big. I'm strong. I can take the punch. I have good chin. I was never on the floor in my whole career. So I have good technique. I'm smart and I'm beautiful, like you can see. So I think I have good tools to beat all guys out there.
Best of luck Saturday. You are pretty charismatic in a different way. So best of luck to you, man.
Thank you, man. All the best.
Thank you. Ames next, please.
Hi, Philip. I just have another question. Like I mentioned to you, you have a lot of admirers, but there's someone who particularly doesn't really admire you. That is the Croatian Allan Babic. I just want to ask you and Nissa, how likely is that fight down the line, and how would that fight go if you fought Allan Babic?
Look, I think Allan Babic is not so great boxer. I don't give him a chance to go to the top of the division. He's just too small. It's not his category. And he's very bad technically. So he maybe one day will be one of my opponents on the record. It's up to Nisa and to Tim Sauerland and to my manager to decide. And Allan Babic, only what he has, it's my name in his mouth. So that's only, and his trash talk. And that's only what he, I don't give him great chance to go far.
I think that Allan Babic, from my point of view, he needs to go. He needs to beat someone like, let's say, Tom Little, then perhaps a Dave Allen, and then then we can see. But we've already asked about the fight, just because we fancied a quick tune-up, but that suddenly he went very quiet. So look, I believe. Personally, I believe that Tom Little will beat him if he had a good training camp. So I just don't see him on the same level as Filip Hrgović, and he is using Filip's name to perhaps get himself in the press, which is fine. Listen, you need to promote yourself, and you need to link yourself with great fighters, and that's fine. Build a rivalry, and you never know, in 1 year's time, after he's beaten a couple of decent guys.
For you, what did you make at heavyweight? Do you think he's capable of continuing winning heavyweight while Thailand finished it? Where do you see sort of the path in his career?
And before Usyk entered the heavyweights, my opinion was that it's not category for him. He's a great, skillful boxer, but he's just too small and too weak for heavyweights. And this fight with Derek Chisora just confirmed to me that my opinion, I think he was not brilliant, and you see that he's not too strong and don't have real power for the heavyweights. And I think he will, with someone who is a little faster heavyweight, and there is a lot of faster heavyweights than Chisora, he will have a lot of problems.
Hello. So yeah, I mean, do you want my opinion on Usyk? Filip couldn't have said it any better. I believe he's a great boxer, but I think going up, you could see that his power and it wasn't enough. He's a great boxer, but he just simply doesn't hit hard enough. Regarding where I see Filip in 1 year's time, of course, a good win on Saturday. And then I would like to see some kind of eliminator in February time. Perhaps the IBF eliminator against, let's say, one of the guys out of the top 5. I believe Michael Hunter's there. A few other names, Ruiz and Charles Martin. Against one of those guys would be perfect. And then, towards the end of next year, challenging for a world title. The IBF is very strict with mandatories. And obviously we were quite high up in the WBC, but there's sometimes you have to pick a path. And with the WBC, obviously You have Dillian Whyte, you have Povetkin, who obviously knocked out Dillian Whyte. Now it's delayed again, and that's the mandatory. So it'll be a bit of a waiting game. So for us, we're going as quickly as possible, full steam ahead for a world title shot. Within a year, I don't know. Who knows in boxing? It could be in 3 months' time. It could be in a year. It could be in a year and a half. But that's our aim. If the Anthony Joshua fight comes along straight away, we'd take that. We saw Dillian Whyte had obviously Povetkin pull out. We would have loved the Dillian Whyte fight. Obviously, 3 weeks' notice may be a little too short for us. But there's a whole lot of options at heavyweight, and I've said it once, say it again. Since the Klitschko's have left the heavyweight division, the whole heavyweight division has opened up, and it's very exciting again. There's so many fights out there. You've obviously got the top two, which I believe are Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua, and then you have the leading pack, and I think Philip is the leader of that pack coming up. And like Philip says, he gets angry with me quite often because I don't get him tough enough opponents. But it's hard. It's very hard, to find anyone who will fight Philip. It's a tough task, but that's why we know we have to go the mandatory route and make one of these guys fight Philip, and we believe we can do that within a year.
Thanks, guys.
Hi, Philip. Donald Corby here. I wanted to ask about, and I'm sorry if this question has already been asked. I had this muted for just a minute. What did you make of Deontay Wilder's comments? I know that you've sparred him before. What have you made of how he has sort of acted this last week regarding the Tyson Fury fight?
Man, I'm not so on the social media. I don't know what really was happening, so don't know what to tell you exactly. I don't know what he said exactly.
He claimed that Tyson Fury was tampering with the gloves. He claimed that his water was spiked by his trainer. A lot of kind of wild claims about how that fight went.
I think that's impossible with the gloves because so strict checks before the fight, especially in such a big event. So I think it's not true, and I think sometimes, especially when you make a lot of money and make a lot of fame, it's sometimes hard to admit yourself your mistakes, and then you try to find mistakes in some other things, And I think he need to go deep down in his soul and his heart and find the answers there, not in the gloves.
Nisa, I'd love to hear your thoughts as well, actually, if you have a couple of seconds.
If I'm honest, I think it sounds like he's going through, and I mean this in the most positive regard possible. It sounds like he's going through some kind of breakdown. Mental breakdown, because 1 minute's the gloves, 1 minute's his trainer who basically built him from a kid up to him spiking his own drinks. It sounds like possibly he needs some kind of therapy or to get through this. And I don't mean this in a jokey way. I mean this in a serious way because I think Wilder is a good fighter, and I think he seems like a very, very nice guy. I've heard from a lot of different people that he's a top guy, and I think maybe he needs to just get to grips with it, and I'm not a psychiatrist, but it sounds like all these excuses coming in, like 4 or 5 different excuses. I think it started with what he came into the ring in. Which quite simply, in the biggest fight of your life, to walk in like a Disney character, it's crazy. I think anyway. But yeah, look, I hope he works himself out. He needs to talk through his problems, and he needs to maybe just man up, put his hands up and say he was the person who lost the fight. You know, that takes a real man to do that. Admit he did something wrong. He got beaten on the night. That does not mean that he can't win a third fight. You know, we saw the first fight, he almost knocked Tyson out. And we all have off nights. We all have off days. You know, in soccer, you get substituted. In boxing, you get knocked out. That's the sad, cruel nature of the game. But I believe he'll be back. He just needs to take some time out, get off the social media, not give any interviews, and you know, like Philip says, search his soul.
Thank you, buddy.
But you know, I wish him the best.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nissa. And finally, Carlos, I believe you've got a question for maybe both guys.
Yeah, a quick question for Nisse. I mean, I know you kind of detailed a little bit what your plan is to maybe try to get Philip into that world title conversation. And obviously things are so fluid right now in boxing, especially with the pandemic. How much has kind of those plans to try to get Philip a world title shot or get him into a title eliminator kind of change as far as timelines and concerns and time frames, you know, compared to right before the pandemic to right now? Does it feel like you guys are still more or less on track to get to maybe a world title eliminator next year?
I believe we're about 6 months out, 6 months delay of everything. I think like everyone else, hoping that there's not going to be any more lockdowns and praying to God that they find some kind of a vaccine for this awful illness. But yeah, of course it's knocked our plans a little bit, but has it knocked our plans more than other people? No, I don't think so. Philip is in the ring in September. He's in the ring now. We'll try and get him out before Christmas. And I think actually that in the end, that's a decent year, bearing in mind there's been a global pandemic. So, you know, we just got to keep working, keep his head down. And you know, like I said, Riddell Booker is still fresh for a 42-year-old. I think it's definitely his hardest challenge. And you know, like make a statement on Saturday. You know, Pulev, I think he nicked a couple of rounds out off Pulev. So Philip needs to go out there and knock him out in 5 rounds. That would be making a statement to the governing bodies, to you guys, and to the fans, to say that, you know, Philip is top heavyweight.
Thanks, Nisse, and best of luck, Philip, on your next fight.
Thank you, man.
Thank you so much, guys. We're going to let Philip go now. Thank you so much, Philip, whose English puts us all to shame. Those of us who can't speak more than one language. Anyway, thank you ever so much, Philip. And let's bring in Rishat Mati.
Cheers, guys.
Bye. All the best.
I gotta leave this room.
And thanks so much as well, Nissa. See you in a couple of days.
No
mate.
problem, mate. Yeah, nice one.
What you said, my English is good, huh?
It's amazing, sir.
Thank you.
So, Rishat, do we have you here?
How you doing? Can you hear me?
Pal. Yeah, we've got you. You're looking good, looking sharp, sir.
Thank you.
I'll try, man. That's it. Got a little skinnier. That's it.
So obviously Rishat's here in the bubble. He's just remind me, I should really know this, but have you tested yet?
I've tested. Well, the past 2 weeks, I've tested, you know, multiple times, you know, twice every 2 weeks. So tested negative twice, negative every time. Now we're just waiting for those last results, and then after that, we're good.
Yeah, so just a little background for some of the media, that obviously the guys have been sort of filtering in different days, and you have to, if you fly in, you have to do 48-hour quarantine, and then you test, and then you get your results, you know, hopefully within a 12-hour window. So some fighters are coming a little bit earlier, some have driven in, but yeah, it's great to have obviously Rishat here. 8th pro fight, 7-0, 5 KOs, and Donna with the first question, please.
Hey, Rishat, how's it going?
How you doing? How's everything?
Not too bad. I wanted to ask about some of your tweets over the last couple of weeks. I was looking down. You seem to be a pretty avid MMA fan. I'm from MMA Island, is the outlet I'm working with. You were pretty critical of Jon Jones, and you seemed like you were drawing a line in the sand that Khabib Nurmagomedov is the MMA GOAT. Could you expand on that a little bit?
Well, it's simple. I'm a big GSP fan, Georges St. Pierre. So I had him at number 1. So I didn't have Jon Jones close to that. It's pretty simple in that Khabib never lost 1 round, let alone get failed drug tests, or even came close to losing fights, controversial fights at that. John Jones had controversial fights in his last 2 fights. He had a controversial fight with Reyes, Santos, and Gustafsson. So I don't compare him as Khabib as number 1. Plus, they're undefeated. He has a loss, which is DQ, but still. But yeah, Khabib, I would have to say, is the GOAT right now, and I don't see nobody topping it right now.
Is there ever any chance we might see you in the cage?
We never know. If the thing is right, I definitely would want to, try to, see how it works. But right now, I'm focused straight on the boxing standpoint and building my legacy first in boxing.
Thank you, buddy.
Thank you.
Hello, Rashad. Thank you for your time today. Just a couple of quick questions from me. I just want to talk about your opponent going into this weekend. How much have you seen of him, and what do you expect from him as well this Saturday evening?
Me, I don't really watch my opponents fight, because those guys that they fight are completely different than the way that I fight. So I like to, feel him out in the first couple of rounds and just to see how he feels. But I still fight to try to win every round. But at the standpoint like that, I like to feel him out during the fight and take advantage of what I'm doing. I like my coaches listen to see and watch the fights, but I don't like to watch the fights. I know that he's good, definitely a big step up compared to my usual other fighters. And he's only lost to, great fighters. So I'm looking forward to stepping in the ring and proving my points.
I saw some quotes from you going around ahead of this weekend saying that you want to stand out. Is that what this weekend's about for you, stealing the show and putting that profile through the roof?
Yeah, every fight that I fight, I'm looking to stand out. If it's in Manchester or it's in Arizona, LA, it doesn't matter to me. I'm looking to be the guy that's like, listen, that was the best fighter in that night. He was my favorite fighter to watch, and just get my name out there.
All right, Rashad, thank you very much. I'll pass you on to the other guys.
Thank you.
That's right. Ames, next, please.
Thanks, Lewis. Ames here for Boxing News TV. Pleasure to meet you, Rashad. Rashad, just wanted to know, having a look at one of the fights coming up in the welterweight division, Terence Crawford versus Kell Brook. Can I get your opinion on that fight, please?
I like Kell Brooks. I think he's a great fighter, especially when he stepped up and fought some great fights. But I think Terence Crawford is going to be different for him, and I think unfortunately, I think maybe Terence Crawford might stop him. But like I said, I like Kell Brooks a lot. I just think that Terence Crawford is just a little more ahead of the game.
Cheers, Rashad.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Ryan, I think you've got some follow-ups. Go for it.
Yeah. Now that I know we've got the time, perfect. Rashad, hello. Thank you for speaking to me once again. I just wanted to talk to you, all being well this weekend. Obviously, you've had that a few months out of the ring, as a lot of fights have. In 2021, how fast do you want to be moved in the professional ranks?
I want to be super, super active. It was supposed to be this year was supposed to be the year of me being super, super active because I had a shoulder surgery. But like I said, this pandemic hit, it kind of messed up everything. But 2021, I'm looking to be super, super active. Get these fights out. I want to be fighting guys with better records and all that stuff. Right now, this is a big step. The guys I'm fighting 17-5. So it's a big step. Hopefully everything goes well. If I fight the way I'm supposed to fight, I know I shouldn't have a problem.
Now, Rashad, of course, before everything closed off, we did see you over here fighting in the UK. I just want to get your thoughts on that, your reflections on how much you enjoyed fighting over here and whether you want to come back as well.
Oh, I definitely want to come back. I love Manchester. I definitely would want to come back to Manchester and fight again. It's just me. I'm not really a person that really chooses, like, I want to fight here. Whatever they put me, I fight. That's my job. But if I had to choose, I would definitely go back to, Manchester and fight out there in the UK again. Because I loved it out there. The people out there, everything, the adrenaline was just completely different.
All right, Rashad, thank you very much. Best of luck.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Ames, I think you've got some follow-ups as well.
Sure. Thanks. Thanks again, Lewis. Rashad, just wanted to ask you a couple of things. Like, tell me a bit about your Albanian heritage and how proud you feel of boxing with that heritage.
Oh, the heritage is huge, especially for my name alone, because I'm the second Rashad Mati in the family. My grandfather was named Rashad Mati, so I definitely want to put a good name onto that resume. But I want to be the guy that puts Albania on the map. Unfortunately, I wanted to be the first Albanian world champion, but Robin Krasniqi actually did it first. So congrats to him. But my main goal is to, definitely put Albania on the map and, just tell them that Albanians are coming. Because now that, I've been doing this all my life. I was 4 years old when I first started doing this. And now that you see more and more Albanians coming in, it feels good. And I definitely want to show people that, listen, Albanians now they know what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, how much was Krasniqi like an influence to you growing up?
Well, I mean, I had different people that were like Bruce Lee and George St. Pierre. Those are the guys I grew up watching, and they were a little bit more of the idols to me. My thing was I'm just doing it for my thing. The main person that was for me that motivated me was my father, and that was the guy that was like, you know what, I want to do this for him, and I want to make sure I'm doing it good. And that's it. My family is the one that motivates me to be better and better.
And we've got Florian Marku over here, who's flying the flag for Albania that we see on our shores. And we get a taste of some of the Albanian fans who are just some of the most passionate fans I've seen in boxing so far. Obviously, you're not going to get fans to that sort of level right now, what with the coronavirus. How much do you miss that, and how much do you appreciate the ferociousness of the fans, the Albanian fans there, I suppose?
Oh yeah, when I fight in New York, I tend to bring maybe like about 800, 900, maybe to 1,000 people. So fighting in New York is my favorite thing though, because I like to go and see how everything is. The crowds are just unbelievable. But I'm a good friend with Florian Marku. He's a very good friend of mine. So for us, Albanians are very patriotic towards their people. So it's my favorite thing in the world is just to fight in front of them and make them proud.
And just final question, I see there are others that would like to ask a question to you. We've seen fights being called off because the coronavirus boxers testing positive. Were you worried at all before you had your test that you could have tested positive?
I mean, like I said, I've tested, twice 2 weeks ago, twice the week before I left, and then I tested right before I got here, and they all came back negative. So I was like, okay, so far so good. But you always have that sense of urge, like, you got to be careful because, like I said, we're going to cut this weight. We're doing all this hard work and all that stuff just so we can get tested positive. And even that, I had friends that tested negative, then tested positive, went back home, tested negative, and then you get locked out. So it definitely is in your mind. It plays with your mind a little bit. Especially my end, if I'm get tested positive or my opponent tests positive, it kind of messes up everything.
All the best.
Thank you. I appreciate it. How you doing? So it started when I was first. My original nickname was Mad Dog because I used to be fighting and just going crazy and just punch, and just super aggressive. But when it came down to it, a lot of people realized that I was Albanian and I wasn't really in that mix. There wasn't really much Albanian fighters out there, and they just started calling me a bear because I'm a little bit hairy. I'm not gonna lie. So they tend to push it out there like, oh yeah, you're Albanian bear, you're going for the kill, and it just came out like that, and a lot of people just kept calling me that, and I just stuck to it. Oof, that's a tough one. It depends on how Earl Spence comes back. If he comes back and it's like how he was before, I definitely have Earl Spence winning it still. But Danny Garcia, he's somebody else, man. That guy's no joke. But I still think I'll have maybe Earl Spence winning, maybe by unanimous. I don't see you getting finished or anything like that. Okay. Good.
Crystal, please.
Oh, Rashad, I'm here in Manhattan in New York City. So, and you are real special, Staten Island.
I'm a little bit different. I'm the New York, but not really the New York.
So did you fly out? Where did you fly out from? And where did you, with the COVID, how do you feel about, there won't be an audience, as you were saying, you're used to that New York call, but did you fly out from New York or where were you?
Oh, from Newark.
From Newark?
I'm technically closer to Newark than I am to JFK.
Right now here in New York this time for all this?
For me, during the pandemic hit, I was isolated. I did not want to go near. So once March hit, once I came back from Manchester, everything closed. Literally right when I got back. So we came back from there. We isolated for all these months. I gained a little bit of weight. So the main thing was for me was to make sure I stay in shape. I didn't want to be near nobody or anything like that. So the main thing was for me just to make sure I'm ready for his fights. Whenever they gave me a fight day, I was ready. Especially when we were training, we weren't training with too many people. Everybody was getting tested, so we were all good. We were doing good.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, guys, thank you. Any more for Rashad, guys? Okay, guys, thank you. Rashad, thanks so much for joining us, buddy. It's always good to have you on. And
Thank you.
You'll be out of prison soon, mate. Don't worry.
No problem. No problem.
Thank you so much, pal. See you in a bit.
Bye-bye.
Okay, yeah, so we're just going to switch things around a little bit while I believe Team Gamboa actually download Zoom for the first time. So I'm sorry about that. But we should have Ray Ford with us. I can see him there.
I'm here.
How you doing, Ray?
Yeah. How are you?
I'm well, mate. I'm well. We've got some media lined up. But just before we get on to some of the press, I'll just tell everyone that last night, myself, Kevin Rooney and Lewis Ward had to deliver what looked like a week's worth of shopping to this young man's room. So he will enter the ring probably a little bit heavier than what he's going to be on the scales at, right?
Yeah.
Excellent, guys. So yeah, shout out for questions with Ray, please. KO Artist Sports, you got your hand up? I'll tell you what, then I'll kick us off. Ray, first of all, this is your second time actually in the bubble. What was it like the first time around? Obviously, Tulsa was a bit different. It was outside, and I know you're from the States, but for me, it was way too hot. So how's it going to feel this time around?
To be honest, it's the same way. It's the same. I think it's a little more torture though, because the way my room is set up, like in my view, I can see the pool and everybody outside. And me not being able to go out there, I just feel like it's torture.
Yeah. So for a lot of, obviously, to expand even then on what Ray says, the guys are, they're in their rooms, but even after they test, just to be, as perfectly safe as possible, they're really limited to where they can go. They can go to the gym in allotted times. They can go to the food hall at allotted times. But, obviously it's not great for the fighters, but I'm sure Ray may attest to the most important thing is to just keep your growth going, right?
Yeah, most definitely.
Okay. First question from Carlos, please.
Just kind of piggybacking off a little bit about the whole grocery thing that we just mentioned, Ray. Obviously, between the fight that you had in Tulsa and now you got this fight coming up, how much easier it is, I guess, from a fight preparation standpoint, or just being, in that environment for fight week, how much easier it is, if it is easier compared to when you first had to prepare for the fight in Tulsa?
I don't think it's any easier. I think it's pretty much the same. Just still sitting. I honestly, I feel like it's easy losing weight here because of like the food. It's not like a type of food that I would love to eat or anything like that. So I would eat like little bits. I wouldn't eat too much of it, and I wouldn't really put on much weight. So I feel like losing weight is easy, but as far as anything else, it's not. It's the same.
Thanks, Raymond, and best of luck in your next fight.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Reggie next, please.
Hey, what's good, Raymond?
Hey, I'm good. How you?
You know, you fought a tough kid down there in Tulsa and Manriquez. You know, what'd you think of your performance and how you came out of that situation?
I mean, my performance, I give myself like a B-, but it was easy. I just felt like I was fighting smart. He was trying to do a lot of countering. He wasn't trying to engage in anything. So I seen him trying to counter and load up on his right hand. So I just kind of basically took that away from him. And a lot of people did look at it like it was a boring fight, but my style was not like an aggressive style. Like I'm a smart fighter. I'm a thinker first. So if somebody in there trying to counter me, I'm going to do as much as I can, but I'm not going to run into dumb shots. I'm going to just play it smart and box safe.
With that statement of you being a smart fighter, any thoughts on, we just saw Allan Jones. You guys are kind of on the same path or stage of development. He had the draw down there a couple of weeks ago in Mexico. Any thoughts on that result for him?
I mean, Allan Jones, he a good fighter. I want to say he fought a tough guy, but I think he should try to like work on defense a little bit more, because even though the dude that he fought, I feel like he still wasn't on his level. He could have made that fight a lot much easier than what it was. The same way how me and him fought, we fought the same dude my last fight, Manriquez or whatever his name is. I feel like he made that fight when he fought him hard too. So I think he should just work on defense more and just outclassing these guys instead of making it tougher than what it have to be. He's a good fighter though.
That was kind of my same thoughts on it. Just last question. This cat in trouble, significant role in Teofimo Lopez's preparation for the Lomachenko fight. You think that gives you a significant advantage going into this?
I don't look at that like it's an advantage. I've been sparring world champions and guys at that top level, so it's not like really nothing new to me. I don't feel no different. Like I'm still going to be myself. I'm still me. Teofimo can't go in there and fight for me. So whatever happens in this fight is going to happen regardless. It's not because of who I went and go spar or any of that. It's just me doing me. So.
All right. Best of luck to you, man.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Ames here for Boxing News TV. Pleasure to meet you, Raymond. Raymond, a couple of questions here for you. What are the plans that Eddie has in line for you after this fight? What are the conversations have you had with him?
I haven't really been talking to Eddie. I'm not sure what he has, what plans he has for me, but hopefully I get a couple good fights that I want to fight. Sean Garcia or just somebody undefeated, so I could put them on my resume. Somebody good. Mm-hmm. Even though this dude right here is a good fighter too, I feel like he got experience. This is a step up for me, but I think I'm gonna just do whatever I want to him too. So hopefully I'll get somebody who wants to really test me.
Yeah, I mean, what do you know about Rafael Reyes?
I know that he's a pressure fighter or try to be a pressure fighter, and that's basically it. He can't take body shots. I see that, and he's tough. He's a tough fighter as long as you allow him to be tough. But as soon as you touch him, he gonna fold up.
And yeah, like fighters coming up, normally the younger fighters tend to have eyes on someone particular at the top, maybe. Do you have your eye on anyone particular that you'd love to face down the line?
All the top guys at 126, all the world champions, Neverette, Josh Warrington, Can You, Gary Russell, whoever at the top and got the belts.
Who do you rate as the best?
I rate Gary Russell as the best, but when I get there, when I get to that top level, I don't think he's going to be a world champion at 126 because he'd be talking about moving up and stuff. But I got my eyes on like the guys like Josh Warrington and Neverette and all them other guys. Can You?
Yeah, obviously we know Josh Warrington very well over here on these shores. What do you think of Josh in particular?
I think Josh is a good fighter. He got to be a good fighter to become a world champion. So you can't say he's not a good fighter. But I would love to fight him because he got a good fan base, and I know the fans over there in the UK, they support him. And I think he would be a good fight for me.
There seems to be a little bit of hesitancy for some fighters to come over to fight Josh in Leeds. Would you, down the line, if it came to it, would you come over to fight Josh?
Most definitely. That would be better for me. I feel like it was more publicity. My name would be out there more over there, especially because I'm going to beat him over there, and my name is going to get a lot bigger. So I would love to go over there and dethrone him.
Final question for you, and I wish you the best of luck in your next fight. I just want to get your thoughts on that knockout, Gervonta Davis versus Leo Santa Cruz. When you saw it, give me your reaction, what it was.
I wasn't shocked. I did an interview on that fight before it happened. Everything that happened in that fight, I said it. I said he was going to end up stopping him in the middle of late rounds, and that's what happened. He was going what's his name? Leo Santa Cruz, he got too careless, and he did the same thing 3 times, and of course, that was going to happen. Tank is a heavy hitter, so that was meant to happen.
All the best. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jim Conlon next, please.
Yeah, Ray, just a quick question for me. You mentioned Shakur Stevenson as one of the best guys you've ever went up against sparring. How were those sort of memories in terms of sparring with Shakur, and why did you think he was up there as one of the best guys you've ever got into the ring with?
Because Shakur is basically like me. We're basically the same kind of fighters. He's real smart, just like me. Got great defense, so it's kind of like a chess match in there. We both have to think in there. Nobody's giving nobody a free shot. You got to work for everything while you're in there. So Shakur is definitely like one of the guys who make me think the most in there. And I have to be on my A game with him.
Yeah, thanks, Ray, and best of luck.
Thank you.
Okay, guys, any more questions for Ray? Okay, cool. Then we will let you go, Ray. Thank you so much for joining us and moving the times around a little bit there. But good to see you over at Champ, and we'll see you tomorrow at the press conference.
Thank you. I'll see you tomorrow.
Cheers.
Can you hear me?
Hey, Rydell, how are you?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we've got you loud and clear, sir.
Okay. I'm not really used to doing the Zoom stuff.
That's okay, man. I really appreciate you joining us and appreciate you coming on a little bit earlier than previously requested. It's really good of you, my friend. So, how are you finding life in the bubble so far?
Well, it's a little strange being at a nice resort like this, but unfortunately, due to my circumstances, I'm used to being isolated. If you all know my history, so it's nothing.
Of course, and just like moving to the fights sort of immediately. Philip is obviously a sort of a highly talented prospect, and
yeah.
What do you sort of know about the man you're going to face on Saturday night?
Well, I was fortunate enough to be Felix's head sparring partner down in camp last year in Miami, so I'm familiar with his style, and it's nothing that I'm not used to. I've been around boxing for 32 years, so I can make adjustments that I needed. He pretty much a typical European style fighter, depending on one punch, but heavy legs where it's hard for him to move and angles and different circles and everything. But I got my work cut out ahead of me because he kind of know me and know the things that I like to do. So I'm quite sure they're making adjustments.
Absolutely. We've got a question from Ames, so please go ahead, Ames.
Hi, Radar. How you doing?
Hello.
Pleasure to meet you, Radar. Ames here for Boxing News TV. Before we get to the fight with Filip Hrgović, I've noticed some names on your record, some very interesting names. Can you take me back to fighting James Toney, the lead of the fight, and that experience?
Wow, that was an amazing fight. You know, I actually learned a lot from James. Actually seeing him around in the Detroit gyms at Galaxy. But you know, that fight would have been a different situation if I didn't have so much on my plate. You know, I don't know if you guys really know my story, that I went to prison, so I was out on a bond when I fought James Toney. And it was kind of hard to stay focused because when I was out in camp, you know, they found out I was out of state and they told me they'd snatch my bond, get home, and, you know, I couldn't really train 100%. But I actually learned a lot from James in that fight.
James is one of the older, was one of the older heavyweights from the old era. Talk to me about some of the two other older heavyweights who are going to be fighting very soon, Tyson Roy Jones Jr. What's your opinion on that fight?
I think it's a good fight for what they're doing. You know, age is not really a big issue as long as a person take care of their body and keep their health and everything. Because I'm considered an older fighter now, and I had a 12-year layoff. But I actually like that fight. I was actually having a chance to go be a sparring partner with Mike Tyson in that camp, but I got this call, so I had to focus on myself. But I think it's going to be a very interesting fight. Mike Tyson still has power. Roy Jones has speed and his ability to catch you off guard and off surprise. And everybody understands no boxing is speed is power, especially when you're getting hit with shots that you don't see coming.
And the one more fight I want to talk about before we get to your one, it's a Kubrat Pulev. Take me back to that fight and the experiences you got from fighting Pulev.
You know, well, once again, I took a fight on a 3-week notice. You know, not to make everything about money. I was kind of in dire need for the finances, but it was a good experience. I know I could have done way better if I would have prepared myself much better. And, you know, it's no excuse. You're supposed to always be in shape waiting on a call. But it was a good experience, you know, fighting Pulev. I know he got his hands full with Anthony Joshua coming up. You know, I was fortunate enough to be in camp with Anthony Joshua before, so it's going to be a very intriguing fight.
What do you think of that fight with Pulev and Joshua?
I think Joshua's going to beat him.
And let's bring this fight, bring this to you now. Obviously, you're in against Filip Hrgović. You talked just moments earlier about what you've seen of Filip. Generally, people seem to think that, if I'm honest, I'm sure you know this as well, Filip will probably win or beat you. But what do you think will happen in that fight?
Well, you know, I understand that they're expecting me to come in this fight not in shape, but I'm well prepared. You know, I had an amazing camp. You know, I switched some things up that I was doing wrong and everything. So I expect it to be it's going to be a good outcome. You know, I'm going in to fight to get the win, but I understand how it is on the business side, coming on the B side, but it's not something that he's just going to come in and feel like he can do what he want to do to get the victory. That's definitely not the case.
How difficult has it been training for this fight? What with the coronavirus?
It been kind of difficult, but you know, like Michigan was one of the last spots to open up the gyms and everything. So I was out in Vegas training for a while because my coach, he also trained UFC fighters. So I was out there training for a while, and I came home and we found a gym that pretty much let us get access to train. And it was cool, you know, nice camp. It was kind of hard getting good quality sparring, but we made the best out of every situation we had. You know, I went up to Saginaw, boxed Jermaine Franklin. You know, I got a lot of rounds in with a guy that I fought on Showtime, and you know, so I'm well prepared.
My final question for you is like I mentioned about the consensus coming into this fight with Filip, but if you win, which isn't out the realms of the possibilities, what do you want?
I just want to be able to have an opportunity for bigger fights, you know, keep my name going, because I know I have all the talent in the world to be with any one of these elite heavyweights. And, you know, it's kind of hard because I don't have a big promoter behind me. So I pretty much take what I can get. But after this display of my skills and my talents that I'm put on Saturday night, I know for a fact that I should get some good phone calls.
I wish you all the best, Rydell. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, James. Carlos, next, please.
Hi, Riddell. Thank you so much for taking time to talk to us. Really appreciate it. You know, but by the time you step into the ring against Filip Hrgović, it'll be almost exactly 1 full calendar year since your last fight. At this stage of your career, did the long break kind of help you a little bit, just kind of dissect everything, especially coming out of the loss to Kubrat Pulev? Do you feel like the break has kind of helped you or hurt you in that regard?
Well, it's kind of hard to say. I mean, I understand like sparring, you know, getting a lot of rounds in the ring is a totally different atmosphere from being in a fight. But like I said, I was fortunate enough to get a lot of rounds in, and I don't think the layoff is really going to be that much of a big deal with me. So I'll be well prepared. I'm well prepared.
You kind of mentioned, you know, obviously you're not behind like a big promoter, and you've said you want bigger fight, the opportunity to have bigger fights. Does it feel like every fight now there's a little bit more pressure to deliver and perform in the hopes that you get those big fights? I know you've had a couple of good fights. You got Pulev, you got Jermaine Franklin's a very good heavyweight prospect before Pulev. Does it feel like there's a little more pressure now to deliver in the hopes of getting those big fights?
Yeah, sometimes, because it's like I say, being on the B side, or actually a little less than the B side, it's like you just wait on a call. And this actually the first fight that I got offered where I had actual time to prepare for it. You know, I have a proper camp, and the people behind me to support me for the financial means to bring in sparring and do everything that I need to prepare for a fight. So, you know, I definitely will perform, and I know for a fact that I will get calls after this if, you know, I'm not like being too cocky or modest about it, but I just know my talent, I know my skills, and I'm definitely in shape. So, you know.
What is it about Hrgović? I know you've talked a little bit about his style and what you saw of him, but what about Filip, you know, compared to some of the guys that you've fought since your return, that kind of leads you to believe that you're going to perform better and even come out with a win?
Well, it's because Philip's his style, like he depend on one punch. He depend on the right hand. He paw with the jab. He's not like he's bottom heavy, meaning that he's not a person that can move around quick on his feet. I expect him to come throw a lot of punches, you know, because that's what he was doing in camp. But he just target for one shot. It's not like he set everything up and look for it. He just looked for his big right hand, and that's something that I'm expecting, and I'm going to be able to counter and make adjustments to.
Appreciate it, Riddell, and best of luck against Filip. Looking forward to seeing you in the ring.
Thank you very much.
Sorry, guys. Al Jones, please.
Riddell, how you doing? In the ring with Al Jones, Cleveland, Ohio. How's it going, man?
I'm all right. How you doing?
Good, good. So coming up in the streets of Detroit, I know you've had your challenges, you faced your challenges, you know, and you've overcame those, which is good. I commend you for that. What have you done now to prepare yourself mentally and physically and spiritually to go in and get a victory this weekend?
You know, like I said, I actually had an amazing camp. I changed a lot of things that I was doing outside the ring, you know, with my family, the homebody, the trying to be a parent as far as when I'm training for the fight. So the wife, everybody took a lot of pressure off me from having to go home, play Mr. Moms, picking the kids up from school, cooking. You know, I hired a different trainer, somebody that pushed me and get on my ass and don't let me take no for an answer. If they tell me I'm doing 10 rounds today, you know, it's more likely 12 or 13, not me saying, okay, after the 7th round, I'm done. So I made a big commitment to myself as far as getting in great shape.
Okay, good, good. And what can we expect to see out of you this weekend? What type of style, what type of fighter, what you bring into the ring this weekend?
I mean, you know, you've seen my fights. You know, I'm a crafty fighter. You know what I'm saying? Of course, I expect to bring a slickness. But what a lot of people don't expect me to do is sit down more on my punches. You know what I'm saying? To go for the harder shots, you know, because my counter punching ability is definitely there. They haven't left me. So you can expect me to sit down on my punches and grind some bigger shots out instead of just using my boxing ability.
Okay. Thank you so much for taking my questions, and I wish you all the luck this weekend, brother.
Thank you very much.
Hey, Rydell, I just had one more question for you. I forgot to ask you. I just wanted to know where you stand on the side of, well, Deontay Wilder putting out his message recently out on Instagram. He came out from the silence. He put out that message. Have you seen it? And where do you stand on this whole situation?
I'm really not too sure exactly what message you're talking about with Deontay Wilder, but me and him, we talk every now and then through our mutual friend Malik Scott, you know, and they asked me for my opinions with certain stuff or what he's doing, but I actually don't even know what remark he made or what comment you were talking about right now.
Do you mind if I tell you? Is that right?
Okay, it's cool.
Sure. So it's about the glove situation in which Deontay Wilder and others have said about the fight, and apparently there's allegations of the glove tampering. Would you care to comment about that?
It's hard for me to comment because I don't know, but I have seen like images and everything, and you know, certain stuff don't look right. But like I said, I can't comment on it. I wasn't there, and I'm not big in a lot of conspiracy theories, but it doesn't look right. That left hand glove doesn't look right with Tyson Fury.
I mean, there are some people that say and question Deontay Wilder's mindset right now. Would you have that worry about Deontay Wilder now? If he's coming to fight again next, would you worry about where he is kind of mentally?
Yes, because like just being a fighter, you know, losing a fight, you question a lot of stuff about yourself. But, you know, I haven't lost to that type of form where Deontay Wilder lost, where I got stopped, whether it was the amateurs or the pros. But so I'm quite sure a devastating loss, especially when you on a high horse, when you the alpha male of the sport, I know it can bother you. So I think he's strong enough mentally to overcome it, but it's some stuff that I feel personally Deontay Wilder should work on. And, you know, just make sure you go in with a clear head. You know, as a person, I like him. I've been in his camp. We talked, we laughed, we played. And, you know, it's kind of hard to bounce back from that when like I say, you're the alpha male, you're the top of the sport.
Thanks again, Rydell.
Thank you.
Hey, what's up, Rydell? How you doing, man? It's Eric Weir from ESPN.
What's up, Eric? How you doing?
I know you're from the D, man. I'm from Flint, Michigan. So you talked about training and Saginaw. So just kind of talk about, you know, I know the toughness of this area and the toughness of the state. How does that shape your mindset of how you enter the ring and just your whole style? You spoke about that before, but just that area growing up and that culture and training in that culture as well.
Well, just being from that area, you know, the glove, the mitten, the dirty mitten, you had a mentality that nobody can beat you. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that myself. Like I say, a couple fights that I lost since returning back to society, you know, I beat myself because I wasn't prepared. And it was the point of, you know, I'm hearing the numbers. I'm like, okay, I can make this money so I can feed my family. I don't have to take the chances that I took to send me away. So, but this time I just buckled down. It's like, you know, I know these guys can't beat me. I beat myself by not being in shape. And I'm tired of just letting somebody put my name on their resume.
Good luck, man. Too appreciate that, man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. Any more questions? No, then I think we'll let Rydell go as well. And yeah, thanks a lot, Rydell. Good to have you here, and see you tomorrow at the press conference.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thanks, man.
All right.
So yeah, sorry about this, guys. So yeah, we just had word that the Gamboa's team, I think they've only just tested today. They're a little bit frazzled, so to speak. So what we'll do is, if it's okay with everyone on this group who received the details for today's call, I will send you guys a note later today when we firmed up his time. It looks like it's going to be 12 noon Eastern time. So that's about an hour before the press conference. So yeah, it's really frustrating. Obviously, it's not great for me either. I don't want to do another one of these. I'm sure you guys don't either. They're not that much fun, are they? Let's be honest. But yeah, we will try and get this right. And like I say, tomorrow he has to be down here anyway at 11:30 to do his photo shoot. So we'll drag him from the photo shoot over, and like Devin and Philip, he'll be actually sat in front of the screen to do the call. Yeah. So hopefully that's okay with everyone, and we'll unless there's any questions, feel free to email me.
That's fine.
Cool. Sorry about that, guys. And yeah, thanks ever so much for joining and for all your questions. And also, just finally, one thing I always like to say is thanks as well for all the questions for the younger guys, the guys who are 6-0, 7-0. I think it's really nice, not only for them to have you guys ask questions, but I think it's only going to be for the benefit of them in the future, for them to get these media early days. You look at someone like Devin, who's still only a 21-year-old baby himself, right? So and he's getting better and better. But the likes of